What if I told you in the next 90 days, you can go from someone that's barely able to make it through a workout to someone that's completely rebuilt themselves, that they've rebuilt their body, their mindset, their life, to a place where only men can admire from far and they genuinely want. And that's what this video is going to be about. And by the end of this, you're also going to have a genuine 90-day blueprint to change your life in the simplest and fastest way. And I'm going to simplify it, but I'll also kind of start off by saying it's not easy, because a lot of work needs to be done to achieve a big change like this. Now, before we dive in, there's gonna be some of the people that actually nod their heads, that watch it for some motivation, and think, yeah, that's some good advice. And then they do nothing about it, they just scroll through, watch the next video on YouTube. I do not want you to be that person. Hence why, before we dive in, I also want to challenge you and think, hey, is it actually gonna be different this time? Or is this gonna be a little bit more information that you probably just think is great and do nothing about it? So you need to choose what camp you're gonna be in, because majority of people won't do this. But if you do this, your life will completely change forever. Now, before we dive in, why should you listen to me? But I've been in the health and fitness space for almost coming up to 8 years now, and I've been that guy that struggled with everything, being given probably the worst deck of cards genetically. I've never been fit growing up. I've always been that guy that was trying everything on the internet, doing all the research. I would always put in, or have to put in, more work than others to just catch up, right? To just catch up. And that applied in everything, whether it's my university degree, bit of a maths nerd for any guys that don't know it as well. I've taken that to a little bit of a way to kind of say I'm much smarter than the regular PT. But like, I've always had to do more, and I've tried almost everything you can think of. From every advice on the internet, I've tried it, tested it multiple times, and I've found something that works. And I've also then gone to create the method coaching, which has helped over 700 people to date, which will be different when you watch this video, of course, to completely rebuild their body, their life, and their mindset. And one thing I want to also add into that is the goal has always been to build an above average body so you can live an above average life and do above average things. So whether that bleeds into your career, your family life, and you can be the anomaly, whilst everybody in the world is getting out of shape with age, you can be completely different. When everyone goes left, you go right. When everyone zigs, you zag. I wanted to make sure the guys that watch this, the guys that I work with, they are going to be anomalies. They're the person that wakes up in the morning, gets the workouts, does the meal prep, does the fundamental things they need to do to drive themselves forward, and it applies everywhere. It applies into everything. And I wanted to create that identity, which we'll dive into today, because I think the identity is everything. And the process is the goal. The outcome is just showing you going the right way. Because guaranteed, when you achieve these 90-day transformations, which I'll dive into, you probably won't stop there. You're like, hey, I've done this now. This is what's next. So here's what you're going to learn today in this video. How to find the core reason to transform big, which not many people have. They may have it, or it may not be strong enough. How to build your identity around this. You're also going to learn the exact nutrition, training, and hormone protocols to change in a short period of time. And you're going to learn the exact 90-day plan and exactly how to execute it. So phase one, let's dive into building a health identity, which is everything I think so many people say it's woo-woo, it's jargon, it's just kind of goes over their heads. But you need this, because see, most people fail at everything because their identity holds them back. They may go in and train hard for a few weeks, skip a few takeaways, and eventually they fall off. There's this thermostat in their mind where it kind of brings them back towards baseline. Like, this is the type of person that sabotages themselves, that goes only so far, or they consistently get in shape and then get out of shape, but never submit long term. This is because they've not engineered their identity to the person they need to become in their future version. So here's how you're gonna do it. You're gonna make two lists. List A, your starting point. Who are you? Where are you right now? What do you know about your body, your habits, your mental framework, and how you think? And apply as much detail here. Where are you currently? Because I think so many people don't take the time to be self-aware and to actually realize the current situation, because they either don't want to because they want to be in denial, or they almost find it a little bit too hard, or they almost find it kind of like pulling their pants down, right? So no judgment here. List down everything. Who are you right now? How do you think? What do you think about most of the time when you start? What happens? What habits are currently existing? And then list B, your vision. Who do you actually want to become? And this flows really well with list A. Like, go find the habits you currently got and find the ideal scenario in these. And if you're ever struggling with that, find role models. It doesn't have to be one person only. Find 3 to 5 people you want to imitate in terms of the behaviors, and go live like that person. Like, funnily enough, we watched the Michael Jackson movie this weekend, and I kind of pulled a lot from that in itself. How he'll never rage, he'll be very calm, collected, and he'll be very straightforward. And he'll obviously have that part where he's very grateful, very humble, and he also treats his parents with respect. right? And I've always lived with that, and that's one thing that's kind of more of a reminder. But if you wanted to achieve that, you know exactly what that good success marker looks like. But coming back to the vision, who do you want to become? What do you actually want? Not generally what you think you should have, because a lot of people set goals in accordance to other people's goals. What excites you? A stronger body, a stronger mindset, certain routines, certain protocols, certain way of living, certain thinking standard, and get generally very clear on that. Because I think if you know your North Star, it's much easier to achieve. And if you know your starting point and your North Star, it becomes a lot more tangible. By the way, I want you to, if you need to, pause this video, go write those things down, and then watch the rest after this. Now, circle the things you need to work on the most. There's a saying where if you've got more than 3 priorities, you've got none. Right, so circle the 3 priorities, 3 action points you want to look at. So it could be something so small, like I need to be that person who wakes up in the morning, I need to fix my sleep before I fix my entire life. It could be someone that person, I used to bite my nails a lot, and I just put in my journal like, hey, I need to stop biting my nails. And like something as simple as that, the awareness step just changed everything. Like it didn't give off good body language, and it didn't kind of create to the future version I want to become. That's just a small example. It could also be the stance where it's like, I need to spend more time in solitude, because right now I spend a lot of time with other people. Which is obviously a different topic. I think if people spend way too much time with others, then you spend more time by themselves, and vice versa. That can be one thing you look at. But I want you to get very, very clear on this and find the things you'd be willing to fight for. And that's exactly what the foundation of these next 90 day decisions will be like. And that's exactly what you're gonna be focusing on. Just 3 main things, 3 main components by casting your current self and your future self and how you wanna act like. Then after the 90 days, go crack the other list. Once you've got that, we wanna look at 3 layers of transformations. There's one on the surface level. So showing up, getting your food in, getting your sleep in, getting your steps in, hydrating, getting well prepared, planning your days out for the night before. So literally like plan tomorrow today, sign up to a gym, do the whole things you need to do. From a surface level perspective, I think these may not sound sexy, this may not sound appealing, but you need to do it. And from there, you start to build these habits and infrastructures that start to align with the changes we obviously earlier discussed. From there, the identity level, right? This is where you want to look at who do I need to become whilst doing this? And this is where your actions get tied to something deeper and you can create measurable identity, which is why I personally think role models is the best thing you can have in life. I think if you haven't got role models, get some. But this is where you want to kind of look at other people, because I think comparison is a very good thing to have in life, and for the right reasons. So you can connect the dots, you can connect to your vision and make it applicable to you. And for example, it could be a case of, let's say you want to have a better family life or a better relationship with others. Who has that? How do they act? How do they speak? How do they live in embodiment towards that? And it gives you a bit of a North Star, because you start to surround yourself about consuming the morals and the ethics around this person. It becomes much easier to achieve. And then the mastery. You understand the system, and this is where you go deep. So you've got surface level, you've got the identity, and now we go into mastery. You understand the information, how progressive overload works, how protein synthesis happens, why you need to focus on food quality, how sleep affects your body fat storage and your training performance and your energy. And this is where you go deep. You understand not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Because I think that awareness precedes change a lot of time. And the more you understand the operating system you're using, the easier it becomes. Because when you see the upside of doing something, then it becomes much more inclined. I think every single decision you make is about personal development, whether it's a wrong decision, quote unquote. If you sleep in, you probably do that because it helps you with whatever. If you, let's say, drink alcohol, you feel like it gives you a benefit. So this is where you need to kind of realize the upsides and the benefits, because then you start to create a personal development around it. And I think generally speaking, every single decision you make, every single thing you do is, you're probably doing it because you find some benefit. And I think that's why people that self-sabotage, in the moment, they justify. In the moment, they rationalize why it actually helps them, even though there's a cost that comes with it. But there's always a reason behind it that they think is positive. So you understand the system, you understand the details, you dive into it, you go head first. And then we look at your daily non-negotiables. So what are success metrics? Are we got to train in fundamental? Do we need to train at a certain time every single day with a minimum of 45, 60 minutes? What do you do with your food? Is there a certain principle you can live by, and daily non-negotiables, such as having everything planned out in terms of what you're going to eat that day? Sleep. Do you have a pre-bed routine and a morning routine? That doesn't kind of have you going to bed and waking up with chaos. And what does that look like for you? Do you have a part of your day where you always go for a walk, whether it's first thing in the morning, midday, evening times, and do a little bit of a brief with yourself? And then let's say another one is 10 to 15 minutes of studying wisdom and intentional mindset work, which, by the way, will change your life if you do it. So that's one thing I probably recommend for a lot of people. So I want you to create a list of things you need to do and daily disciplines. And if you need to, print it. I'll probably show you guys another day, but print it, put it in your bathroom mirror, success principles. This is what I do every single day. And they may seem like a lot at first, but you do it anyway. See, this is where we start to look at what are the behaviors we need to create? What are the behaviors we need to imitate? what action steps are derived to get to this result. And then once you've done that, now we'll dive into the 90-day framework. So week 1 and 2, this is the foundations for any transformational success, any change, whether it's you're going sober, you're trying to quit a habit, you're trying to achieve a completely new body. We do not rush this foundation. So many people start the transformation off with initial romanticism. They'll tell everyone about it. They'll go super, super hard, and they'll want to just kind of get as much done in the shortest amount of time. And then what happens is they burn out by week 2. Generally, I'd always say go slow at the start and make it easy so you can always kind of do more. And one thing I'd always have in place is have minimums and maximums. What's the minimum that needs to be done every single day? And what's the maximum that you will do and you never exceed? And trust me now, believe me later, be realistic. Yes, there's some people that go all in, go cold turkey, but the biggest change happens when you essentially take your time with it to some degree and you give yourself clear expectation from the get-go that nobody's going to change their life in 2 weeks. So stop expecting to. We need to build the foundation, get that clear, from then derive momentum out of the process and the actions, and never go below the minimum because you've got these non-negotiables, but also never go above the maximum you need to be doing that day. So whether that's choosing your program, getting 3 workouts a week, getting your steps in, getting your sleep nailed, getting food prepped in place, like start to build these habits in place and you'll only do more and more with time comes and it'll become easier. Week 3 to 5, when you start something, you've gone through the foundation phase. This is what I call the valley of despair. This is where doubt hits, right? And this is where you think, well, I've got so much more to go, and the costs start to come up. You have to say no to things. Like you're gonna look in the mirror and see, like, I put in so much work, there's not enough change yet. And this is generally where everyone quits. Like if you haven't already looked into the emotional cycle of change, you go through initial romanticism, the valley of despair, where doubt hits. And this is the people that would start a diet, go to a few weeks in, and then go back to starting again, and then start again later down the line, but never see anything through. The moment you start something, follow it through, because you're gonna start to wonder at this point, is it worth it? The progress isn't gonna be visible to the eye as much as you think. You may feel better, but it won't be as real as you want it to be yet. And this is where, you'll notice your gut changing, your energy changing, some benefits, but the cost will be quite high. And it almost, at this point, this is where most people stop. But like, stay the course, because the compound interesting in this place is accumulating, is invisible momentum going in the right direction. So most people would go through the foundations, go hard, get to the valley of despair, which is kind of essentially the week 3 to week 5, and then go back to starting point and then never see change at all. Now, you may think it gets better, it gets worse. Like week 6 to 8, you embrace the suck. It always gets worse before it gets better. Most people will start to quit, the initial excitement wears off, you start to forget the reason you started this. Life gets in the way, results feel slow, you hit a stagnation point, you plateau. But this is the most important part. Not because of what you gain physically around the week 6 to 8 mark, but is what you gain mentally. And I guarantee if you push through this, you will never be the same person after week 8, guaranteed. But it's this phase here where everyone kind of almost thinks it's going to get better, it gets worse, right? And trust me, I've been through lots of change, lots of transformation myself, and seeing clients do it. They'll lose a certain number of weight, they'll see change, and then they'll kind of slow down, and they're like, it's kind of getting worse. I put in all this work now, and it's getting harder, and they almost don't embrace the suck. But this is the part we need to power through, because most people quit in phase 2, week 3 to 5, and then if not, week 6 to 8 will get them. But then if they power through, get to week 9 to 12, that's where the magic happens. Things start to click, you see changes you've never seen before, you see yourself in a completely new light, everybody notices it around you, you stand taller, you think differently, it becomes easier. This is the part now where you need to get to. The start is hard, it just gets easier. You acquire skill sets, and nothing really gets easier, it's you just get better at it. This is where food choices become automatic. It just becomes a default choice. You're like, hey, I'm just not gonna eat healthy, I'm just a healthy person now. I'm not someone that needs to go to the gym, I just want to go to the gym. It feels automatic, it's just something I do. This is where behaviors that you derived from the start that felt a little bit more, I wouldn't say forced, but manual, they feel automatic. It just becomes what you do. So you wake up every morning, you just kind of cut through the same daily routines. You get up and you go through the steps, you never think about it. This is where the identity and habits completely form here. You start to look differently, start to think differently, start to move differently. And the compound effect at this point, the 6th day mark, is where the true transformation starts to reveal itself even more. And this is where the transformation becomes not just your goal anymore, but it becomes your reality. It becomes the second brand new normal, you can call it, which I like to have as well. See, this is where past that's where the habit becomes ingrained, and you want to continue to ride this wave. You'll have periods where you embrace the next valley of despair again, because once you get to week 12 and you're trying to get to the next level, you'll go through the valley of despair again, you'll go through embracing the suck, you'll go through the initial romanticism again, and you're like, hey, well, things get worse again, then they get better, then they get worse again, then they get better. But you embrace the transformation, because this is how it always works. And like, for most people here, you listen to this, the best thing you can do is bet on yourself. I think most people need to back themselves, they need to follow through, they need to say no to other people, to say yes to themselves. They need to have clear-cut priorities, because I think so many people are people pleasers. They almost wouldn't want to go through a change because it's selfish, but I kind of challenge that, because if you are better, everyone else gets better. Because think of it, if you're on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're currently experiencing and operating at a 5, everybody gets a 5. If you're operating at a 10 or a 9, everybody gets a 9 or a 10. So you have to be selfish to then later down the line for the long term be selfless. Which is why a lot of parents may get parent guilt. They're spending too much time on themselves, developing themselves, and they go through investment decisions, which may well kind of like obviously mean they can't put as many resources towards other things, but you want to be selfish before you can be selfless, right? Because you can't give what you don't have. If you're not focusing on feeling yourself, then you can't help other people. Guaranteed. To bring it full swing, the 90 days is gonna go by without you realizing it. Like, it's May the 12th today. It's going to be the part where August 12th hits, and you're going to look back and realize time just before you buy. And the worst thing to lose is time, because you guys know it. New Year's felt like yesterday. The next New Year's will come about, in the next few days. You blink and it all passes through. And the worst place to be is the exact same place from now, is to be stuck in indecision, not making change, thinking you can do it your way, and being naive towards how the transformation process works. But as long as you know what you're coming up through, and as long as you make the identity shift, then you go through the surface level action steps, you then go to the identity, then you go to the mastery and the deep core level understanding, and know how this framework works from week 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12, and what to experience. And by the way, if you've not already looked into it, the emotional chaotic cycle change, I think if you want to make any change, just realize what to expect. Obstacles aren't in the way, they're on the way. Then you will be a different person by this 90 days. And it may sound like some people say, hey, 90 days, there's not much I can do, but we're not stopping at 90 days, we're gonna keep it going. But like, this is what needs to happen at the start to get things rolling. So that's it. Now you have the blueprint. The only thing left now is, are you gonna be someone that actually uses it, or is this gonna be another video? So appreciate you all. See you in the next video, and hope you took some value.